Welcome to Skinner and Chalmers' Weekly Roast. Today, Death by Taco Tuesday, The Missing Body, and the impromptu performance of Cats.
Happy hello and welcome to Skinner and Chalmers' Weekly Roast. Dear listeners, I'm one of the hosts, Superintendent Gary Chalmers, and next to me is, Seymour. Next to me is, hey, Seymour, turn that down. Take off your headphones. Our podcast has started just now. Are you listening to your stupid ASMR drain unclogging playlist again, or what's that sound?
Not at all, Gary. That's just ASMR by our dear Krakatoa. He's been burping up some rather enthusiastic magma bubbles ever since I introduced him to the concept of karaoke. I believe he's attempting a journey power ballad. Don't stop believin'.
The pet volcano is singing. Of course it is. I suppose I should be grateful it's not trying to harmonize with my pet banshee again. The structural integrity of this house can only take so much otherworldly screeching. Did you at least manage to make breakfast without incinerating the kitchen?
Incinerate is such a strong word, Gary. I prefer to think of it as aggressive caramelization. But fear not. I have prepared a delightful dish of what they call in Utica, sorrowful scrambles.
Sorrowful scrambles. And what precisely are sorrowful scrambles when they're at home, which I suspect they are not?
They're eggs. But they're sad, because the toast that was meant to accompany them met a rather carbonized end. So I've substituted it with these lovely, artisanal saltine crackers.
You've given me crackers and sad eggs. Wonderful. At least the coffee is drinkable. For now. So, what delightful topic are we roasting on the podcast spit today? Are we finally going to address Mayor Van Gogh's suspicious new stockpile of road salt? The municipal budget doesn't account for that, Seymour, and my petunias are worried.
A worthy topic, Gary, but no. Today I thought we might dust off an old ghost, a phantom from the deepest halls of Memafield High, a story so chilling, so bizarre, that the town itself took a vow of silence.
Oh, Seymour, no. We are not talking about that. We swore. The statute of limitations on public absurdity has to run out eventually. Besides, people will think we're madder than we already appear, cohabitating with a sentient inflatable swan and a unionized golem workforce.
But Gary, think of the listeners! Think of the narrative tension! We owe it to them. We owe it to history. We are talking, of course, about the Taco Tuesday incident.
Good heavens, man, must you say the name aloud? The very walls have ears. And some of our walls are literally just compressed moss and goodwill, thanks to Swampy's last renovation attempt.
Come on, Gary, it's not that bad. Besides, it's good for you to talk about the indecent to pump up our viewer count.
Yeah, right, and Santa Claus is coming down the chimney any minute now. But fine. But we tread carefully. This isn't just some local tall tale about Sonic breaking the sound barrier to get to the chili dog stand first. This is sensitive, very sensitive.
As delicate as one of Anna's perfectly calibrated biotic grenades. Listeners, you may need to gather yourselves for this one. Pour a glass of that fine yip, whoop, whoop wine, perhaps, because what we're about to discuss is a 15-year-old cold case that has become the defining urban legend of our dear Memafield. And, as far as I know, this cold case is reopened by our famous FBI special agent, Mr. Francis Zach Morgan.
Ah, yeah, he said his coffee grounds this morning looked oddly similar to a hard taco shell. So the Taco Tuesday incident, an urban legend wrapped in a corn tortilla of hearsay and topped with the shredded cheese of pure fabrication. The official story, as much as there is one, is that a student expired in the cafeteria. The rumored cause of death, an overdose of tacos.
It sounds so prosaic when you put it like that, Gary. So mundane. But the whispers in the hallways painted a far more vivid picture. They said the student's eyes glazed over, a single, plaintive cry of Mora sour cream escaping their lips before they simply folded, like a poorly constructed paper airplane. Not one of your comets, of course.
The Chalmers comet would have soared gracefully to the ground, a testament to superior aerodynamic engineering. This was more of a nosedive into a plate of refried beans. But the point stands. Death by too much Taco Tuesdays is a physiological absurdity. The human stomach is a resilient organ. It's designed to handle questionable culinary choices. Lord knows mine has had to be living with you.
A low blow, but a fair one. I was principal then already, you know. It was a Tuesday. I remember the weather distinctly because you had been going on all morning about a developing occluded front over Memetopia. You were so excited about the potential for cumulonimbus formations.
I recall. A truly magnificent pressure system. It was the only interesting thing that happened that day until the other thing, the thing we're discussing now. So, listeners, I was still lecturing at the university, but the school district was already courting me for the superintendent position. I remember getting the call, the sheer bewilderment in the superintendent's voice. He said, "Jerry, there's been an incident, and there are cats."
Ah, yes, the cats. That's the part of the story that always gets lost in the sauce, isn't it? The taco tragedy is one thing, but the spontaneous feline theatrical performance is quite another.
It defies all known laws of nature and community theater. The story goes that, mere moments after the student collapsed, a hush fell over the cafeteria. Then, from the air vents, the fire exits, the space under the bleachers, they emerged. Cats, dozens of them.
Not just any cats, Gary. The neighborhood cats. I recognized Mrs. Puddlesworth from next door, that surly ginger Tom that Garfield is always feuding with, and even Shadow the Hedgehog's moody Siamese, who usually only comes out to judge people silently from atop a fence post.
And they didn't just mill about looking for scraps. No, they assumed positions. A spotlight, which to this day no one can explain the origin of, illuminated the center of the cafeteria. And then they began to perform Andrew Lloyd Webber's beloved musical, Cats.
Ah, the good old memory. Turn your face to the moonlight, let your memory lead you. Open up, enter in, if you find there the meaning of what happiness is, then a new life will begin. Classic. According to Wikipedia, the musical is based on the 1939 poetry collection Old Possum's Book of Practical Cats by T.S. Eliot. It was a breathtaking production, all things considered. They had clearly been rehearsing. The choreography was surprisingly tight. The Ginger Tom gave a heart-wrenching rendition of Memory that brought a tear to the eye of the school nurse. It was a full, unabridged performance.
It was a collective hallucination brought on by cafeteria vegans' mystery meat. That is the only rational explanation. But here's the thing, Seymour. For our listeners who might be questioning our sanity, and I can't blame them, we must be clear. This isn't just a story we're telling. We can't go into the specifics because, and this is the crucial part, our good friend FBI Special Agent Francis Zach Morgan has officially reopened the case, like we said before.
That's right. What was once a cold case, a piece of Memfield folklore, is now an active federal investigation. So we must speak in hypotheticals and clouded recollections. But we were there, Gary. We saw the aftermath.
I saw the musical. It was touching, and I saw the paperwork. It wasn't touching. Mountains of it. Incident reports titled Unexplained Feline Musical Theater and Potential Taco, Related Fatality. Try explaining that to the Board of Education. They wanted to know if the cats were unionized. I had to conference with Cogsworth, our golem foreman, just to understand the legal precedents for non-human performers. He was a young union leader that time around, but still knew all the stuff.
A valid concern. The golems take their labor rights very seriously. But let's go back to the student, the central mystery. Because here's the strangest part of all. No one could ever officially identify them.
Precisely. No student was reported missing. No frantic parents called the school. The head count at the end of the day was perfectly normal. It was as if a ghost had sat down for lunch, overindulged, and then simply ceased to be.
A ghost with a voracious appetite for vegan mystery meat and shredded lettuce. The rumors at the time were wild. Some said it was a transfer student from a rival town, sent to sabotage our impeccable Taco Tuesday reputation. Others whispered it was a prank by Frankenstein that had gone horribly wrong.
I recall one particularly fanciful theory that it was an interdimensional being whose physical form couldn't handle the sheer sodium content of our special salsa. That one was popular among the sci-fi club. It's all nonsense, of course. But the lack of a body, or rather the presence of a body that then vanished, has always been the central, baffling point.
The paramedics arrived to a scene of utter chaos. Students were giving standing ovations, the cats were taking their bows, and in the middle of it all, a single overturned tray of tacos. But the victim, gone, utterly gone.
which is why the original investigation stalled. You can't investigate a death when you can't prove anyone actually died. It was logged as a significant emotional event with unscheduled theatrical interlude. It remains the most bizarre file in the Memfield archives, and believe me, that is a high bar to clear. We have files on Mayor Van Gogh eating an entire shipment of traffic cones.
A dark day for infrastructure. I remember thinking at the time, who could have done this? Was it the tacos themselves? Our lunch lady at the time, Helga, was a stern woman who claimed her secret ingredient was the fury of a Norse god. Perhaps she finally went too far.
Or perhaps it wasn't the tacos at all. Perhaps the tacos were a red herring, a delicious, seasoned red herring. What if something else happened in that cafeteria and the taco story was just a convenient cover? What if someone wanted to gain attention just to steal the school's secret mascot or steal the $9 million hiding in the basement?
Oh, we shouldn't mention the money. It's well for scientific purposes. But, ooh, a conspiracy. I do love a good conspiracy. Like the theory that my evil twin, Robot Skinner, was somehow involved. But this was 15 years ago, long before his rampage and subsequent redemption. He was just a glimmer of malevolent code in a string of unformed neural networks.
Unlikely. But what about the cats? Why the performance? Was it a distraction to allow someone or something to remove the body? Were the felines of Memfield accessories after the fact? Is Garfield a criminal mastermind?
Garfield, he seems so indolent, so consumed by his love for lasagna. But perhaps that's the perfect cover, a carbohydrate-fueled alibi. The whole performance could have been a diversion. As our listeners, like the ever-astute Shia Fox, have often pointed out, distractions are key in any great caper.
It's a compelling, if utterly insane, thought. Imagine the organizational effort. Getting dozens of fiercely independent creatures like cats to agree on anything is a logistical nightmare. Getting them to learn choreography and harmonies for a 2-hour musical suggests a level of coercive power we've yet to encounter in this town.
Maybe it was a tribute, a solemn, jellicle ball for a fallen taco lover, a way for the feline community to process their collective grief over the loss of a potential source of dropped food.
That implies cats are capable of profound empathy and artistic expression. Seymour, my observations of the species suggest their primary motivations are napping, demanding food, and plotting the overthrow of their human caretakers. Your alligators show more emotional range, and mostly they just want to terrorize Sonic's hedges.
A noble calling. Gizmo and Mr. Jellybeans are artists in their own right, sculpting the privet with tooth and tail. But the cats, their performance was too polished. Someone had to be directing them, a shadowy puppet master, pulling the strings of the Memfield underworld.
Or a lonely person with a lot of laser pointers and a copy of the cat's original Broadway cast recording. We have to consider the simplest explanation. But in Memfield, the simplest explanation often involves sentient lawn furniture or a temporal rift in the local library.
I spoke with our friend, Zach, just last week. He dropped by for tea and to borrow a rock tumbler. He's very interested in your granite collection, by the way. He said the FBI's renewed interest comes from an anonymous tip, a single, folded paper airplane, much like the ones from the Great War with Frankenstein, was left on his doorstep.
A paper airplane? What did it say?
That's the classified part. Zach couldn't tell me everything, but he did let slip a single, cryptic phrase that was written on the wing. It just said, "The snuggling, buckling rum-tum-tugger knows."
The rum-tum-tugger. The rebellious rock star like Cat from the musical. So the tipster is implying that one of the feline performers was a key witness, or perhaps the lead suspect. We're now in the position of needing to interrogate a cat. This is ridiculous. I need to go look at my rocks for a while to feel grounded again.
Zach is taking it very seriously. He's having the FBI's forensic sketch artist work with witnesses from that day to create a composite sketch of the cat who played the rum-tum-tugger. He says they're looking for a tomcat with an arrogant swagger and a palpable disdain for authority.
That describes every tomcat in existence. That's like putting out an APB for a fish that's suspiciously wet. This whole thing is a farce, and yet it's a farce that has haunted this town for a decade and a half. Every time Taco Tuesday rolls around at the school, there's this tension. The students eye the taco bar with a mixture of hunger and existential dread.
We had to switch to Enchilada Wednesdays. for a few years just to let the psychic wounds heal. But the legend never died. New students would hear the tale from upperclassmen. "Don't go for the fourth taco," they'd whisper. "That's how they get you."
It's become a rite of passage, a local boogeyman story.
Indeed. Oh, and some students also say if you light a candle at 3 a.m. in the morning in front of a mirror and say, "Taco Tuesday," 3 times, a magic taco sauce will be on your next taco, one that either kills you or turns you into world's most known furry ever.
Well, that's just ridiculous. Furry. I mean, come on. Anyways, if Zach is involved, it means there's more to it than just legend. He doesn't waste federal resources on whims. Not since the great sentient cheese incident of 2008. He must believe there was a crime. And if there was a crime, there has to be a victim.
Which brings us back to the central question: who was the student? Or, what was the student? We've assumed human Gary. But this is Memifield. Could it have been one of the Yip Martians on a field trip? Their biology is notoriously sensitive to cheese.
That's a thought. An insane, scientifically unfounded thought, but a thought nonetheless. It would explain the lack of a missing person report. Their spaceship could have just beamed the body up, and the cats were a welcome distraction from the tractor beam operating in the middle of the lunchroom.
It all fits. The cats weren't a tribute or a diversion. They were a floor show, a 2-hour dinner theater for the alien retrieval team. They probably have a 5-star Yelp review on the galactic extranet. Atmosphere was a bit chaotic, but the live entertainment was surprisingly good. Would recommend.
Seymour, you are spiraling into the absurd. Let's pull it back from the brink of interstellar culinary criticism. The fact remains a mystery lies at the heart of our town. It's a story of tacos, theater, and, well, we don't know what else. And it seems after all these years we might finally be getting some answers.
Or, more likely, even more confusing questions. I for one am on the edge of my seat. I hope Zach's investigation is successful. For the sake of the town, for the sake of the memory of that poor taco-loving soul, whoever they were, and for the sake of all the brave felines who gave the performance of a lifetime on that fateful day.
I just hope it doesn't lead to a city-wide cat roundup for questioning. Our alligators get agitated when there's a commotion, and an agitated alligator makes for a very poorly trimmed hedge over at Sonic's place. The balance of this town is a delicate ecosystem, Seymour.
Indeed it is, Gary. A beautiful, chaotic, taco and tragedy-filled ecosystem. And that, dear listeners, is the tale of the Taco Tuesday incident. A mystery that remains unsolved, a performance that remains legendary, and a lunch that remains highly suspicious. We'll be back next week. In the meantime, I will attempt to create a regional dish from Albany known as apology pudding.
Oh, good heavens! Is it just more sad eggs?
I'm not at liberty to say. It's a regional dialect.
Well, goodbye, listeners!
Goodbye!